the history of the United States Australian Football League, there have been two top teams from the Eastern region, the New York Magpies and the DC Eagles. They've waged many battles over the last couple of years, and in fact, New York and DC in general is one of the best sports rivalries in that part of the country. It'll be renewed today, not on the East Coast, but in the friendly confines of Woodbury, Minnesota, where here we have the Men's Division I Grand Final of the 2026 USAFL Super Regional Championships presented by Tasmanian. Good day, everyone. I'm Brian Barish, back here for our fifth and final game of the day here live on the stream alongside Dan Sarbacker. And SARS, these two teams played the third team in this group, the Chicago Swans, earlier today. DC won 26-3 in the first game that we called. In the middle game, New York hung on to a 31-20 win. It should be mentioned that the Magpies have players from both the Arizona Hawks and the Kansas City Power. But the question will be here, New York, they always play very strong. They always play tough. Will they have enough, especially coming off of that runners-up at the national championships last year, will they have enough to account for this very hungry, very full DC side?
Yeah, we talked about a little earlier this morning, Brian, the preview for the day, that they seem to be a club on the up and up, looking to build on some momentum. They got into the grand final at nationals last year. They certainly would want to be building on that. Top off here with a couple of players from Arizona and Kansas City, like you mentioned. We did not have the benefit of seeing them. They played their first game on the other field while we were busy calling a different game here. So we've not seen them on the day. Not sure what they're coming with yet this season. You got to think it's a quality side. They're good year in, year out. But we're very interested to see what they look like. DC coming off a rest, so New York's gone 2 in a row. Don't know if that impacts what we see play out in front of us the next 40 minutes.
And we're underway here in Woodbury, Minnesota for the grand final of Men's Division I. We have the Men's Division II grand final, which we will get scoring updates at half and at the end of the game as St. Louis plays Minnesota. But in the here and now, it's DC and New York, and we will beg your indulgence right off the bat because it's in New York, which means we have names but we don't have numbers. So we will do our very best. Ball goes high in the air, and it gets knocked down. Going to get picked up, going all the way back to go forward is one of the Magpie players. They're in the black with the white. I do know that there's a couple of Minnesota guys on their team too. Over the top is Devin Pinn, who had a good game in the first game of the day. Ball goes to ground, little handball, and it's going to be a free kick. It's going to come all the way back, and we'll stay with the Magpies.
Breeze is picking up a little bit, still predominantly out of the south, so shouldn't favor one team either way, but enough that it'll probably pin the ball to the other side of the field more than we'll see it on our near boundary. Looks like a handball right out of the free kick here for the Magpies.
Kicking into the wind here, and Burgess went to reach for it, but it bounces across the face, but it's over a goal!
Big booming kick, ended up rolling through. Nobody got hands to it, so rolls through for a goal, just as good.
New York, 1 straight 6, DC no score. We've played 90 seconds of this Division I Grand Final.
Now, we saw DC this morning in the game against Chicago. I remarked a couple times afterwards, Brian, that that game itself was lackluster for me. Not for a lack of effort. Players were playing, but there just wasn't a lot of change of pace. The tackling wasn't frenetic. They kind of both matched each other at a medium pace. They may be getting shocked a little bit here at the pace New York is playing out of the gate. I'm hoping this isn't a microcosm for the entire game, what we just saw there.
Well, and what you said as well, I think, rings true. DC has had the benefit of, we say the benefit of about 4 hours rest. New York, DC has not, or New York rather has not, but New York is still like warm. They've had about an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer break, but here comes DC trying to work the ball back. Just got the kick away out to the near side. One-on-one contest. That's Chris Williams, one of the Minnesota players who's suited up for New York on this day. Comes out to the near side, got the kickoff, and the ball goes through. Good job by Bernie Burgess, but he couldn't get around it. Williams, 1, 2, 3 bites at the cherry, no good. Ball comes to ground as the wind starts to pick up, going from our right to our left. Sends this one towards the sticks. It's off to the side and has gone out of bounds on the full. Free kick to DC in their back left pocket as Williams will play it in quickly.
Keep an eye on 48 DC for DC. Matthew Crawford, he was an absolute bull coming out of the middle after the last center square ball up. That's the kind of endeavor I expect to see and the level that this game needs to be at. For a Division I grand final, I want to see that level of intent to collect the football. He ran right through an opposition player and distributed with hands.
Sam Nix, I recognize that, number 35. The former Austin Crow won a couple of championships with them. A couple of bites of the cherry and a mark taken there by the Magpies. So he'll have a free kick, and it will come about 45 meters, we'll say 40 meters out at roughly a 45-degree angle. Magpies went to the grand final last year and were absolutely sideswiped by the Austin Crows as this one is sent on the way, and I think that's a second. It is. Bang, bang go the Pies. They've scored 2 in 4 minutes. 2 straight 12 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. DC no score.
It's starting to smell a little bit like a rout. DC here really needs to steady off of this ruck tap. Needs something similar to what they got last time. That really great collection out of Crawford gave them immediate possession. He ran through with a ton of intent. Love to see that. But then the rest of the team's got to show up. They've got to have some help for him or whoever the ball collector is to provide options. They need to start stringing passes together or New York's going to run away with this. DC really has to get themselves involved here and really kind of the pace that they're playing at is not going to get it done.
Recent history for the regionals for the Magpies. Last year they had the final game against Philadelphia, kicked 3 goals in the first 90 seconds and didn't look back as DC rushes forward. They didn't in the 24 Super Regionals, they weren't there. The 23 Super Regionals, they finished 3rd. That was in Kansas City, though, and that was a big effort to send an entire team across the country. 2022, they won the Eastern Regionals. That was in Philly as the mark was taken up on the far side. They won the 21 Sub-Regionals, and then before that, it had been, you have to go all the way back to 2016 when the last time they won the Eastern Regionals. Baltimore-Washington stepped up in 2017, and then the Hawks went back-to-back in 2018 and 2019 for Philadelphia. DC has a free kick off a mark here, about 3 kicks from goal, sending that one in low and Stabby. Going after to get that one was Bartkowiak, and he was taken down.
That's a throw.
And it will be a throw, so it'll be a free kick going the way of the Magpies.
Didn't make contact with the hand, so an illegal disposal as good as a tackle.
Out to the far side now, goes up high, mark taken over the top. Again, don't have names to match numbers here, so again, sorry.
Magpie A to Magpie B.
Yeah, pretty much. Up on the far side now and going all the way back through the hands of Panda, who has been around the football a fair bit for the man in blue. And here is Sam Nix, who he went down, he slipped, he fell on a banana peel, Super Mario Kart style, and the ball goes outside. Ball going to get picked up. This is Tom Matthew on the far side now. Going to get picked up, and it's going to be paid as a mark.
Remind me, I'll introduce him to Zelly Moore after the game, and she can teach him how to have a bounce.
Zelly had a good one out the far side, and New York pretty much letting them have a couple of these marks. And finally now they put a little bit of pressure on. Dropped there by Blumenshine as the ball's up on the far side now. Ball gets taken down, send this one forward, and it's marked once again. Daniel Armour with this one. What kind of man eats Armour hot dogs?
Yeah, Armour's probably in range here. This will probably take everything he's got to make the distance here, but I reckon he can do it. Everyone's lining up like he's got it. This would be really great steadier for DC to get this goal. They've looked a little better in the last few minutes connecting some passes.
Armour sends this one on the way. It's going to be awfully close. That ain't half bad. That's full good. Amaze, amaze, amaze.
Yeah.
Goal by Daniel Armour.
Get around him for that. Made the distance, he did, but probably cleared the outstretched arms of the defenders by maybe a foot or 18 inches. Well done.
He took the mark, even though Rocky hate mark. And on the Watch AFL scoreboard, New York 2 straight 12, DC 1 straight 6. That's an unpaid advertisement for Project Hail Mary. Go see it.
Well done for DC there, bringing the score, cutting the Magpie lead in half.
Now we have a little bit of a game, and I think you were right, SARS. It was a little bit of a, the signs were on the wall early, but good on the Eagles to not allow to really kind of stand up after those opening couple of shots. 2 goals in the first 4 minutes.
It really is a chess match sometimes, Brian. You sometimes have to match your opponent's pressure or intensity or playing style, and you come in mismatched and something catches you off guard. You might go down a couple of goals, but good teams will steady. DC seems to have done that here. They've raised their game a little bit. They're starting to find openings a little bit better. That'll make New York be accountable. They won't run away with this.
Ball comes forward. Here they come again, running this one on. Up the kick left to let him down, but he's going to take the mark.
I said it earlier, watch Crawford, and there he was again out of the middle on the left. Little awkward, but it worked in the end. Low mark taken by, who's 35 there? Is that Foster?
Yeah,
Alex Foster. Big target. Big man got down to get it. Well done for him.
And Foster, national teamer, went to the Transatlantic Cup. Left-footed kick. This ball game is tied.
Jeez, that's a nice kick too. Goal umpire didn't even move, straight over his head. That was nicely done off the left. For a big man to get bent over that far on the run and take a mark inches off the ground, nice athleticism from him. Great stuff out of Crawford out of the middle. We got a ball game.
2 straight 12 each of 2. Watch AFL scoreboard, and let me tell you, New York has the tendency to really dominate games in the same way of what they saw happen against them against Austin in the grand final, and really the last 2 grand finals they've played against the Crows. The first couple of games, the first game that won in 2021, it was a little bit of back and forth before Austin surged, but DC, a very, very good side. Like I said, probably not D1 caliber, maybe just off the pace in D2, but that doesn't mean a darn thing. Especially, this is the purest. I think this is about the purest of an atmosphere that you're going to get. It's far away for both teams. New York has a number of players from a couple of the other sides, as we said, but this, I think, is a really good matchup, and DC has to think that they have a chance here, and they take the mark across the half-back line.
Neutral in every sense of the word, as you were describing. Nice mark off a halfback to rebound. Not finding a target there. That's probably a testament to some of the pressure we're seeing. And as the ball hits the dirt, there is each possession getter has been under a lot of pressure in the last 2 minutes.
All now as they try to send this one. They're looking for a lead or a mark inside the goal. As the Magpies have the football just past the halfway part of this first half. Brian Barish and Dan Sarbacher, our 5th and final game of the day from Woodbury, Minnesota. As this one is sent on the way, it is through for a behind, just off to the left, but that's enough to give the Magpies the lead on the Watch AFL scoreboard. They lead 13-12.
Put their noses in front there on the heels of just dominating that last transition. So intercept mark for DC off the back line. They weren't able to connect. They kicked the ball out long and wide, but that ended up in New York's favor. They end up collecting, get that lead in, and while DC was stretched out in transition, New York took advantage.
And should be noted that we'll be back at this in 2 weeks' time in Salem, Oregon, for the Western Regional Championships. Know that Doran James, who's sitting behind me right now, is hard at work putting together all the schedules and the matchups together, so keep an eye out for it on USAFL 1997. Good spoil in there, preventing Wack, who played very well in that first game, from getting the pool. Ball goes after the ball. This is Williams staying with the football for New York. They get the ball off. Here is Jewell, who played well in the first game, off the good spoil off the hands and over the boundary line and out of bounds. 13-12 New York.
I think we're getting an arm chop on that. Foster gets the free kick. I think arms were chopped. Man, the explosiveness out of DC here to hit the pack. 42, who was that came streaming through? Jewell. Absolutely well-timed and really critical to move quickly.
What a mark, I think. Let's see. And we have a horn? or I wonder if they're doing a water break.
I think it was Daniel Armour on the mark there.
Well,
horn might have been accidental.
Well, here's Armour. What kind of man kicks Armour sausage rolls? It's a goal for the Eagles, and they are in front in the Super Regional Division I Grand Final. And everybody is coming off the field, so I'm wondering if they went to quarters. They did, in fact, go to 4 12-minute quarters, it looks like. So at the end of the first quarter, it's the DC Eagles 3 straight 18, New York 2-1-13. And this is an interesting dynamic. One of the things we used to talk with Tom Ellis all the time, he used to say that with the quarters, momentum is very precious because now the teams are both going to go rest. They're going to come back out. DC may not have the momentum.
Yeah, they've come back and responded with 3 straight goals after New York kicked the first 2. Now New York slotted that behind in there, but I think this has been a hot topic in the World Cup right now, Brian, and the exact same thing happening here right now. So had the horn, the siren, goal kicked after the siren, but the teams are taking a break now. DC probably has 90% of the momentum. I don't think we have a momentum tracker graphic that we can throw up. Our analytics aren't quite that sophisticated. Jerry's laughing at me over my shoulder.
Come on, Jerry.
But it's been an interesting graphic to watch them throw up during the World Cup. I don't know that I fully understand where their data is coming from, but my eyeballs, your eyeballs, Brian, knew 100% DC had all the wind in their sails the last 5 minutes.
To be fair, I don't know that FIFA even knows what that is. By the way, I very quickly want to, while we have a moment here, a pause de hydration. I went from Spanish to French on that. I don't know how. Jerry Long is responsible very much for the pictures you are putting together. We have a lot of great crew, camera folks as well. I mentioned, of course, if you're on social media, Ashley is roaming around getting great shots for us as well. But Jerry putting this all together, he's done an amazing job. He's going to be back at it in Salem in a couple of weeks' time to put us on the air, and he's done an amazing job putting all of this together. So
Dan Wicks.
And Dan Wicks as well, doing a great job, not only helping with this, but also going around and getting the still pictures as well. He's got a lot of still pictures that we're seeing on social media. So our thanks to Jerry, even though he doesn't have the finagly graphics. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's it is very much as we get set for the second quarter. It is very much going to be a very interesting kind of see how they are. Let's recap the day so far while we have a moment. As the other game right now on the other field, and I'm sure we may get an update at some point. Minnesota is playing St. Louis in the Division II Grand Final. The Freeze defeated Wisconsin 30-6 after the Blues squeaked out a 2-point win over the Wombats, 21-19 on a goal in the waning seconds of that game. And of course, the 2 games here earlier today, DC defeating Chicago 26-3, and then New York holding on to an 11-point victory. And the interesting thing about this, SARS, we should mention there were 2 women's games today. The first was a 1-1 draw, and then the Blue Ox / Denver / DC and Friends combination won 13-9 in the second game. If there is a tie, then it comes down to percentage. DC, it would benefit them. And don't laugh, because we almost had that happen in the Western Regionals last year. Sacramento won anyway. They would have won had it been a tie, but they had a point after the siren.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you questioning percentage of what, it's not attractive announcers or anything of the sort. It's goals for divided by goals against. So in the entire tournament, your total goals for or points for divided by points against. So Brian mentioning DC there, by virtue of a better result against the same opponent. If they were to tie here against New York, their results against Chicago come into play. So that could be a factor here. But coming out of the quarter break, I think the big question is: does momentum continue for DC, or did New York make some adjustments tactically that can stem the flow?
And to be fair, I don't think anybody's thinking about the tie here. I think they obviously want to win, but we're putting that out there as a just in case. As we said, we saw that in last year's Western Regional Championships.
Interested listener, we like you to be informed.
Yes, absolutely. Umpire is ready, so are we. Quarter number 2 underway. We are playing 4 12-minute quarters here in this grand final match as they send the ball down. Ball pops high in the air. Going to get picked off by, I forgot to change the sheet. It is going to be Daniel Armour. All of a sudden, Armour's come out of nowhere. He's kicked 2 goals in this game. He didn't really feature in the first game this morning, but he's been a key cog in the Eagles' game so far.
He and Foster, kind of a 1-2 punch in the DC forward line, both big-bodied forwards that command a lot of space. So if the midfield, especially through Crawford, can continue to deliver balls to them, I say they've got a good chance running out here.
Ball goes down the line, going to get knocked free, going to get picked up now, spinning away. Long kick down inside the 50-meter arc, bounces away. Here is Kadri Williams, very fast, sends the ball high in the air, but they're able to settle under it. So here are the Magpies, have the ball center field. And again, reiterating, we do not have any numbers to match the names on their roster, so I mean, it is what it is. As the ball gets sent down high in the air, it is taken down, turns and fires towards the sticks. It'll roll, it'll skip, it'll get kicked even a little bit further afield. Here's a chance for a goal, and it's there. Soccer's out off the ground. Looked very good, and Flo Balogun would be proud of that one.
I don't know that New York drew that up quite that way in the quarter time break there, but they'd be certainly happy to take it. Opportunistic ball gets inside forward 50 for the Magpies. Wasn't a particularly penetrating kick, but it was enough to get a contest. Guys did the work on the ground. Ball ends up squirting forward towards the goals and kind of cleverly around the corner a little bit, the way he directed that with the foot and soccered it through.
3-1-19 New York, 3 straight 18 DC, and as we said, we have a player down for the Magpies getting up very slowly, and once again it looks like a rolled ankle.
Ankle or knee was right where that contest occurred, so I don't know if he went up with everyone else. He's running off on his own power, so that's a good sign.
We mentioned Squid Wewell. She is helping out because she plays for Kansas City. Those jumpers, by the way, and Kansas City has come out with some new jumpers, but those jumpers might be some of the best in the league, I think. Kind of a Kansas City twist on the Port Adelaide Power.
And you know jumpers.
I do know jumpers.
All right, we're getting reset here. Actually, not sure what Steve Arnett's waiting on. Everyone's.
I don't know that they've put a replacement on.
All eyes return this direction. Football is getting retrieved.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the ball was an issue with the ball, perhaps.
Got it.
Or it was just being retrieved. But in
All
any
right,
event,
Steve's ready.
Listen, otherwise we'd just be playing foot, and that's something else. As the ball goes up high in the air, and we're underway. New York leading by a point. We will probably have some injury time here. I kept my clock running as the ball gets sent high in the air, drops in front. That is Tanioka, who is in there for DC, sending this one and going all the way back. 1-on-1 contest, once, twice, 3 times a lady. Ball goes to ground. Blumenshine is in there. So is Daniel Armour. And he's wrapped up for Hanukkah. And the umpire says, I will light the Shabbos, and we will have a ball up. New York 3-1-19, DC 3 straight 18, Division I Grand Final, Super Regionals.
You'll notice the pressure almost any time anyone's getting ready to kick. They've had someone draped over them. So the only penetrating kicks we're getting are when people don't have a defender directly on them.
Sent that one in. 2 Magpies were back there in defense. They wick it out to the near side. 1-on-1 contest. Magpies maintain possession. No eyes for the ball. And that's going to be a free kick going back the other way.
Yep. Good call by Ross to pick that up. A lot of people would have missed that, actually. The fact that the Magpie there made contact, did not make an effort for the ball, did not have eyes for the football, and impeded the DC player. So we're going to have a free kick there for, let's see, Adam, is it Bartkowiak? Bartkowiak, thank you.
And by the way, we should mention our umpires. Nice on a string, taking the mark nicely was Blumenshine. All of our umpires are fantastic. They've done a great job today, especially in this heat. We've got 2 of the best in Ross McLaren and Steve Arnott here as this one is sent in towards the sticks. Umpire says that has gone through for a behind, and we once again are all square. 3-1-19 New York, 3-1-19 DC. Almost 5 minutes have elapsed in the second 12-minute quarter. We imagine, I believe the clock was stopped during some of that, so we'll probably have some time added on. As they look out, they're calling it to go out to the right side, going down the middle of the ground. Look to punch the ball away. Little handball back. Little handball up over the top. Comes out to the near side. Ball gets played to ground. Squirts out to the near side. Going to get picked up. Running onto it nicely was Zovac, who had a big first game. That one drops like a parachute high in the air. DC needs a point to get in front. Instead, the ball goes out of bounds. Not a bad result for them, as they will have a ball in about 4 or 5 meters around.
Wind pushing it that direction. You'd have to aim more towards the left sticks to give that a chance. Not always easy when you're under the pump in the middle of the field, but need to just course correct a little bit on those shots on goal.
6 miles per hour, gusts to 9, according to the little computer on my wrist that only has 4% of battery left. As I told you, I can tell you who won the grand final a couple years ago, but I left my damn charger back home as the ball comes out now. Oh, big tackle from behind. Oh, did he get it? Let's see. He did.
Absolutely. Nice tackle by Blumenthal.
Blumenshine, crept up on him like a librarian, and the ball comes in down. That's for you, Dennis, as the ball comes out. Air again is Armour, who forced it, and it's gone. I thought he may have grabbed him a little bit high, but Armour will have a chance for his third and to give his team the lead. Around the grounds for Destination Woodbury, thanks to Ashley Page. Minnesota 5-2-32. St. Louis 1 behind. Looks like the Freeze are going to come home with a victory there.
I thought that one would have been closer, but Freeze obviously showing some class and putting some points up. St. Louis maybe had to sit too long, and that didn't favor them. Who knows?
And meanwhile, Alex Foster is the one who slots it home, and the Eagles are in front once again. Watch AFL scoreboard. DC 4-1-25, New York 3-1-19, 7 gone, second term. Brian Barish and Dan Sarbacker, our final game of the day. Once again, 2 weeks from today, join us in Salem, Oregon. Pioneer Sports Ground, I believe, the sports park is the name of that one. It's been called a couple of things. It was called Timbers FC something or other park, I think, the last time we were there, whatever it was. But this is the third time we'll be at that park, and we'll be streaming live. We will confirm the schedule and times for you in the next few days.
DC's got the formula here. They're trying to target their big men up front. They do the work to get the ball delivered from their midfielders. They've got the better bit of play right now, and that's what New York has to solve. They need to shut down DC's midfield. They need to spoil balls going into those big men.
And I'll tell you what, they will be very excited to see this halftime whistle come, but DC has the football across the halfback. The 77 there, working it out to the far side. Drop the pill. Now going on to get to it. Insides the handball it back. This is Matthew. Matthew sends this one down. It will go off the hands there of the 17. And the ball has gone out of bounds, and we'll have a boundary throw in under 4 minutes. We'll say 8 minutes, just over 8 minutes gone.
Yeah, restart here down in the forward end. I don't know that this is where DC excels. They've been so good delivering to those big forwards. They actually probably want the ball outside 50 going back in. But if they can work and tie it up here and continue to exert some pressure, they might get the ball to squirt and to change of field, change the angle of attack.
Ball will be up, as Tsar says, front right pocket, forward right pocket, as this one gets moved forward. New York has it. Now sends this one out to the near side. Ball's going to hang in the air. Burgess with a big punch, but he's going to get called for pushing in the back. That's the right call. It was a fantastic, but the problem was he got his left arm out, which went directly into the back of his opponent, which is a no-no, and then came through with the right. It looked really good, but it wasn't legal.
Yeah, bad luck. Really nice punch from behind otherwise, and he was off to the races to go collect it too. So he was about to have a really nice individual effort, but the umpire saw it differently.
Up high, ball goes to ground. This is Williams, who stays with it, got leg, is still able to work the ball forward. Look at the work rate right in front of us as the ball comes out to the near side. Push the player, and the ball goes out of bounds. And
nice effort from the mom that just cleared out about a 6-year-old little girl there was about to get plowed over on the sideline. So kudos for looking alive there on the boundary, because the big bodies were coming for it.
Had flashbacks to the World Series with Dusty Baker's son in 2002. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it was the umpire. Was very close to. It was very, very close. Ball comes back into play now. DC trying to work it forward. Matthew kicks it forward. Little stabby kick. Does it sit up well? Over to get to it and spinning away was Alex Lesser. He is the lesser evil and handballs it up over the top. Ball goes to ground. Again with it is Lack, who had a great first game. Little handball as it skitters along the ground. Magpies have it. Sends it up the far side now. It'll bounce. It'll skip over their heads. It will go all the way back. Here come the Pies now. Up the far side. Drops in front. Over to get it now is the 33, which is Bradley Villette. Ball's up on the far side, and it is a free kick.
New York really looking for answers right now. DC's been able to move the ball, I don't want to say at will, but with much more consistency than the Pies have.
Eagles through Armour, sending this one down. One-on-one contest, punched away. Probably should have grabbed it because here's a shot for goal. It's on its way. Goal umpire says 2 Pies please from 2 Kangaroo. 5th goal of the game for the Eagles. They're out by 12 points. DC 5-1-31, New York 3-1-19, and probably should have snagged that with no pressure around him.
Yeah, well, that's what pressure does, though. There's pressure, there's real pressure, and then there's perceived pressure. And perceived pressure builds the more real pressure you have during the game. You think you have less time than you really do. You think there's someone right on your hip when there maybe isn't. He went up, thought he needed to punch there. We all looking here, watching the game, thought, well, why didn't he grab that? Well, he's probably been under the pump all game and thinking, I should just punch this away. That's my safest avenue. And it turns out he probably had time to grab it.
Looks like Matt Freeze for a minute. I'm not salty. I don't know what you're talking about. Ball comes inside now as it drops in
that
front.
Was a mistake.
Yes, it really was. As the ball comes down and it's going to get picked up, spinning around. That was Livy who found Bartkowiak, but it gets sent back down the ground by the Magpies. Oh, almost taking a mark. He flew through the air with the greatest of ease and is going to get a free kick for getting caught high. So this is Riley Naughton who sends this one down. The ball goes to ground, and I think that's 12 minutes. It is, and that is halftime. So there is the second quarter, and it's the DC Eagles 5-1-31. There's another horn for good measure. The New York Magpies 3-1-19. The Eagles won that quarter, and they have set themselves up for the victory. But this is a Magpies team, and look, they can string some of these passes together, and the Eagles are not out of the woods yet.
Certainly capable, but I'm watching the body language as the players come off the field, and I wouldn't say it's exceedingly convincing that New York thinks that they've got something in the tank to come back from this one. Also, I was just watching right at the end of the whistle there. One of the Magpies having a discussion with Steve Arnott about something he didn't like. We're not close enough to hear, but I don't know, displeasure about something. So don't know if they're starting to look for excuses or what, but heads are hanging a little bit, and they're in the umpire's ear. So we'll see what corrections get made at halftime after players rehydrate. But DC's got the equation right now on the backs of their midfielders who are collecting the football, crashing through packs. They've done the work in the midlines to get free enough to deliver balls to those big-bodied forwards, and those guys are converting on the other end. They're kicking 5-1 and in the lead.
We'll see how they finish this game when we return for the second half. You're watching the 2026 USAFL Super Regional Championships presented by Tasmanian here from Woodbury, Minnesota on AussieRulesUSA.com. Back here at the M Health Fairview Sportsplex in Woodbury, Minnesota, 2026 USAFL Super Regional Championships presented by Tasmanian. The final 24 minutes of the day. The second half, the third quarter about to get underway in the Division I Grand Final with the DC Eagles leading the New York Magpies 31-19. Brian Bauer, Stan Sarbacker back here with you. And SARS will be a very, I've said the word interesting a lot, but this will be a very cagey test for the New York Magpies. They're not usually in this position, and they've got some talented players from both Arizona and Kansas City in tow. DC, however, they come in, they've had that momentum, but now both teams have had the rest, they've had a chance to take in some water, and you mentioned the body language of New York. They look kind of tired, but, you know, this is still really anybody's game. There's only 2 goals in it. I feel like the next 5 minutes are going to really determine how this goes.
Yeah, coming out of the long break, we'll see how each of the teams respond. Does New York have an answer for DC's midfield and Crawford, or their big units up front? Don't know. New York certainly had strong passages of play, but we'll see what happens now. The pressure's been hot enough. No one's had really good use of the football when they always want to.
Back the other way comes New York, and here's a handball. They are headed now towards the left of your screen in the black and white jumpers. The Eagles are in blue from head to toe. Big tackle! Throw it in there by Kansas, by Luke Meyer. There's a little bit of talking after it, but I think that was looked like a clean tackle, but I think it may have adjudged to being high, and all of that, the ball doesn't lie because it's picked off by the Eagles, and they'll have a free kick.
I'm not in the business of questioning umpires, but I didn't see what happened there, whether it was high or in the back. It's probably one of those two. I didn't recognize it myself, but I thought it was an absolute crunching tackle.
Naughton sends this one down. We got to say it like Ray Warren. Crunching tackle as the ball goes up on the far side. I will never not make a 12th man reference. As the ball gets swung around, whipping it around was Zane Zovak. That is right up there with Zarli Zalapski in the poetic scrapbook of sports names. As the ball goes, got to pour one out for old Zarli. As the ball goes down, it gets knocked forward. The Magpies going all the way back to go and get it. Crash Boom Opera. And laying down on it.
He dove on that. Yep. What's the umpire do with it?
Well, he looked like he was jumping in for the try.
Haven't gotten a signal
looks like a ball up. Nope, it's going to be a free kick.
Yep, so he jumped on the football, didn't dispose of it, so that's a free kick the other way.
And the ball goes down. It is Williams with a good spoil. And now it's a one-on-one contest, stuck in a foot.
Oh, and he plays kicking in danger.
Yep, and I think that's the right call. And, you know, that's one of those ones I feel like, you know, instinctually you're just going to want to stick your foot out. I've been called for that a few times in my day. And the mark was taken to the middle, and the Magpies, they need 2 goals to tie it. So underway in the third quarter.
3 a little bit undisciplined moments here have actually helped New York string some offense together. So DC penalized 3 times for various infractions up and down the ground. New York's going to have a shot on goal. Maybe this is probably right at the edge of his range.
On the way. Oh, he heard you.
More than enough.
I think he's well within range, my dear Dan. And the Magpies have closed the gap to within 1 straight kick. The Eagles 5-1-31. The Pies go to 4-1-25 as we have played 2.5 minutes of this third quarter in this Division I Super Regional Grand Final.
Got a great game going here. So third quarter, not much wind. There's enough of a breeze, but I don't think it favors anyone either direction. More or less blows straight across the ground. I think if there's any advantage on the field, it's maybe a tiny bit downhill to our left. So New York going downhill a smidge this quarter, and maybe that helped him make the distance.
Really, and the ball is... It will have a ball up after that tackle there. I think as well, you know, the Magpie. Whoop, wait, we're going to do this again. Whoops. I think as well, yeah, I feel like the scoring end has been to the left here. And, you know, here's the other thing. This is great. Like, we went through all those tournaments last year, and we saw some good games, but we really only saw, I think, 1 or 2 really nail-biting games, and we've seen a few already today. We've already had a draw in the women's. We saw a game decided by less than a goal as Crawford sends this one in. Ball goes to ground, going back to get it, and here come the Pies. Runs his full measure out to the far side now and dropped in front. goes away, and there is Burgess on his hammer.
Really key for the Magpies there, that forward 50 entry for DC. They did not allow that ball to be marked. Armour and Alex Foster were running amok in the first half, taking grabs up there. New York must have talked about that at halftime, that those guys cannot be allowed to take grabs in that forward 50 anymore. So good job to the Magpies bringing that ball to ground, and here they've rebounded 2/3 of the way up the field.
And they are now, if they can kick a straight kick. Now, we will say that, again, just putting it out there, if this game does end in a tie, that is good for DC because they will win on percentage. As the ball gets sent in, and it is marked defensively by Zovac. Glad you're joining us here in Woodbury, Minnesota. There is literally no other sporting event happening anywhere in the world right now that is more important than this one.
Neither the World Cup nor the multi-week international youth soccer tournament in Blaine, Minnesota, up the road here.
Yeah, none of that's happening. I don't know what anybody's talking about.
10,000 hotel rooms or some ungodly amount. Big youth tournament.
I was curious as to why I saw so many soccer people coming here. That would make sense.
That would explain it.
Skitters across like a cockroach on the bathroom floor. Ricochets out to the near side. Digging in after it, trying to scoop it up. Oh, you got to pick that one up as Campbell Naughton overran the footy, and the umpire says, give it to me, as there was no clear opportunity and no clear possession.
Yeah, overran it. Probably could have picked it up a smidge earlier and then almost got pinged for diving on it. Umpire saw there was enough effort to get free that wasn't an offense.
Probably an effort of fatigue that he didn't go down with two hands, and he only went down with one. Ball comes out high, out to the far side, going to be sent in towards the sticks there as it is marked. And the Magpies now have to shift back on defense. Matthew sends this one down the ground, leaping but can't get to it. Boss out to the near side now. And there's a big, he shook him away. That's Blumenshine. Steaming this one now inside the 50-meter arc. It'll roll, and a little handball out there. New York, the firearms are sounding, and circles around at a whole 360, goes down, almost taking it over the top there was Jewell, who's had a fantastic day, but they turn it over off the foot of Meyer. It'll be a free kick to the Magpies in their left halfback flank.
Just a couple tiny sequences here where DC hasn't really wanted the football. Tide could be turning in New York's favor here. They've certainly done good things, DC, couple of intercept marks and stringing a few things together, but a couple of these contests up and under, seeing the Magpies get a nose out in front.
Ball comes to ground, going to get handballed away. Sending this one in there was Jewell, almost taking that one over the top, but it gets picked up. This is Foster, and Foster goes out to the side, but that is a handy point because now two kicks separate the sides. The Eagles go to 5-2-32 on the Watch AFL scoreboard. New York 4-1-25. We are just past the midway point of this third quarter, 5 to go. Brian Barish and Dan Sarbacker, glad to have you along as well as Dan talks.
Starting to see the players really start to dig in and find that little bit of extra that's in the tank. It's getting midway through the third term here. Fatigue's starting to set in. It's been a long day. It's a hot day. For those folks tuning in from Australia, I don't think anybody ever plays in weather this hot. We're north of 30 degrees Celsius here all day, so players have definitely experienced some fatigue, and you're starting to see it. Guys really have to dig in and convince themselves to go into contests.
I would say maybe not even in Darwin, where they play in the middle of the rainy season. As well. We'll have to ask, I think there's at least one or two people around here. I know April Munn has played. In fact, she's won a premiership in the Northern Territory League. As out the back come the Magpies now. They trail by 7 points on the Watch AFL scoreboard. Again, they have to win outright if they want to win this title. As the ball gets sent back in the other way, it'll hold up nicely. This is Blumenshine with the headband, sending this one back in, over into the pocket, bounces away. Chasing after it is Lack, who gets to it first. Now works it inside, and he is taken down, and I think the ball may have gone out of bounds first. No,
I think we're going to play a free kick. So illegal disposal. He did not make contact with the boot as he delivered with the hand. So that'll be a free kick to the Pies.
Pies have it now in the back right pocket, sending this one down. Gets there on a hop, turns around, now works to the inside, handballs it to nobody in particular, and then everyone backed off the ball. Pies had it, player taken down, no call. Tried to put the ball into the middle of the ground. Tanioka is there, could have been kicking in danger, wasn't. 50-50 call, I see to the umpire. Up to the far side now, standing back, waiting. Naughton works this one into the middle, drops in front of Tanioka, who picks it up on a hop, wheels and turns. setting this one up, going in, setting this one up high. Going to be a one-on-one contest. Nice mark. And he got knocked down a little bit afterwards in front of the late arriving Alex Foster. And he is a little bit slow to get up.
Took a bit of courage there, probably working off some calf cramps. He's already got either a headband or some strapping on from a head knock earlier, don't know. But took some courage to get in the middle of those two Eagles.
Meyer came out to the near side and almost took it. Now send this one down the ground. Bounces in front, went through the wickets, and the boundary line's going to win that race. With, we'll say, 2 minutes and 40 seconds or so to go in this third term. They call it the Premiership Quarter. DC is 15 minutes away from winning their first Division I regional championship since 2017 when they were combined the Baltimore-Washington Eagles. It would be their first standalone championship since 2023, I believe. I'm trying to remember if they won Division II. No, they won Division II in 2024 as well. So a third regional championship in 4 years on the offing, but this would be the highest. And one team that's missing from all this we should mention is the Austin Crows. They are in the middle of their break, so they're not playing in either of these regionals. And as much as we like seeing the Austin Crows, and listen, they didn't win the Western Regionals last year, Denver did, it does open up the competition a little bit.
I think it's a great chance to see other clubs, and like we're seeing a great game of football here. So we miss them, we don't miss them, I don't know. But hopefully, yeah, they in the heat of Texas, they take July off. A lot of Texas clubs do, and don't blame them. That is brutal heat down there. So. Yeah, we've got a wonderful contest going here, but I'll tell you what, it's hot enough. The interchange has been very busy. Players asking to come off, other players not ready to come on yet. So some guys getting stuck on the field and they don't want to be.
Good shoulder bump in there, which sprung.
Bang, another one. Crawford in on the second one.
Not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you what, this is almost hockey-like out there with the amount of shoulder checks that are being put in there. It's all legal as long as you're within 5 meters of the football, and the umpire crosses his arms. Will have a ball up on the other side of the center circle. DC 7 points on the sunny side of this one. 5-2-32 to 4-1-25. That's on the Watch AFL scoreboard, and thanks to them and all of our sponsors, including, of course, Tasmanian, Destination Woodbury, 2 Kangaroo, who's here serving delicious meat pies, and we'll be out partying. We'll also be watching some of the soccer as the ball gets knocked down. It's not us. This one is sent in. They'll play on as the ball goes to ground. That's how you know you're in a USAFL tournament, is when you hear a horn from the other field. That's and everybody stops. We are going to get ours in about 15 seconds, though, as...
Yeah, setting the stage. 2 ovals here at the park. Brian, when we call nationals together, upwards of 5 ovals going at the same time. Largest football carnival in the world.
And that is the quarter for this one. And the DC Eagles will head into the final change up by 7 points. On the Watch AFL scoreboard, the DC Eagles 5-2-32, New York 4-1-25. I don't think either team really took the initiative here. I think New York looked like they were going to early in the contest, but DC did well to parry away their attacks. On the other side of things, they didn't really they got a couple of insertions inside the 50-meter arc, but they really didn't do enough to put the game away. And this will be the last 12 minutes that we see these two teams. So I imagine, however tired these guys are feeling right now, it's not going to matter because, you got to lay out for the next quarter. You're going to get a little bit of a break, I think. I don't know that either of these teams plays again in the near future, or at least not for a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping to see an all-out fourth quarter in spite of all of the conditions here.
Yeah, I think you're saying what we all know, right? Leave it out on the field, and there's an opportunity to do that and go home with a regional title. Yeah, I think microcosm of what we saw in the first quarter, a repeat of it. New York, got out and looked like they might really start to control the game a bit. So they got that one major, but that ended up being it. DC steadied after that, just like they did in the first quarter. So New York wins the quarter, kicking 1 goal 0 to 0 goals 1, but that leaves DC in front still by 2 major scores. So I don't think the equation changes much. DC's had all their success with Crawford and crew in the middle, collecting the football, handballing until they get enough free space. Blumenschein started to really exert himself in the forward line as a small, playing with his big body, I think is doing a lot of effective things. They're not converted with that. Still the goals have come from the big men, Foster and Armour, which you would love, of course. New York, found some success on the offensive end that quarter. For them, I think again the equation is they've got to nullify that midfield of DC that's having the better bit of play right now. If they can do that and then stay accountable around the ground, I think they've done a better job in parts of the day of winning the football in those contested moments. DC's really shined when they've broken free. If New York can prevent that by winning those contested moments, I think they give themselves a chance to kick a couple of majors and get out in front here.
Yeah, it really does. I think the fig will be, as you said, is we have a score coming in. This is a final, I imagine. A final score. The Minnesota Freeze are your Division II men's super regional champions as they defeat the St. Louis Blues 8-2-50 to 3-3-21. That's around the grounds for Destination Woodbury. Of course, our big thanks to Ashley Page, who's done a fantastic job on our social media today, and you're going to see more. If you don't follow us, please, at USAFL 1997. As well as we have a YouTube. Well, you're on the YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook as well. So find us in different parts of the internet. But the team's coming out onto the ground for the fourth quarter. And this is the last 12 minutes of the day. And then everybody will take a well-earned break.
Really watching the New York huddle here, Brian, to see there's a bit of fire still over in the DC side. I know. Still some last words from the coach on the New York Magpies side here. We're, of course, trying to tease out any bit of insight we can about what we're about to see and drawing conclusions from things that maybe don't matter. But I haven't seen that fire on the New York bench that really makes me buy into them having a ton of belief that they can run out in this.
I'm wondering if whoever wins this will do the Viking row.
Yeah, kickoff in the World Cup coming here
already. Yeah, so
just now.
Just
started.
They're
yeah.
in the 10th minute.
Yep.
And but you don't want to watch that. You want to watch this.
Yeah, stay with us here for the fourth quarter.
You've all got DVRs. DVR it.
How often do you get to listen to Brian and myself bring to you regional action from the USAFL?
We got to get Andres Cantor to do a game for us. Seriously, not only is he one of the best, I think he's one of the best in America, even better than the English guys, than the American guys. Maybe not as good as, say, John Paul Della Camera, but he is super good. He also comes off as just like a really, really nice guy.
Maybe we'll do a fundraiser, Brian. If we raise enough money, I'll pull a Cantor at Nationals this week.
All right, fourth and final quarter is underway here in Woodbury, Minnesota. And the Magpies, the teams are still kicking. Ideally, you switch every quarter. They haven't done that. They've only been switching at the half here, so the teams will still kick to the sides they have been kicking. The Eagles will still be kicking to our right, while the Magpies are still kicking to our left.
And wind still basically straight across, not favoring either side. But again, if there is an advantage on this field, maybe a slight downhill once you get kind of the midpoint section of the field favoring the Magpies.
All right, as this one gets sent high up on the far side.
Desperation smother there from DC. He's hurting for it, but he got there.
Yep, he got it. And listen, you leave it all out. As we said, got to leave it all out on the field.
He's asking for a sub. He's up, but if he really wants help, he's got to go down. Okay, he does go down.
Yep, and that is Tatsuro Tanioka.
He's holding his calf. He got a heck of a smother in there.
I'm wondering, he may have gotten a corky, may have gotten a knot like right in the right there. So
he's got him on his foot. Oh, that might be a calf cramp. He's acting like he needs that stretched out or rolled an ankle. Yep.
Well, he's got the cowboy walk going on, and I don't mean to make fun of him for it, but just in the way he's moving.
Yeah, stiff boots.
Yeah, as the ball comes in and the ball comes down, New York trying to get it out of there. They do. Up the far side, and it is not marked cleanly. Big tackle put in there by Bernie Burgess. really think that Bernie has a future where he does at some point get a call up to the national team. He did play well. He's played fantastically in all the times we've seen him at regionals and nationals, and he's done so today, sending this one in, and the ball goes over, and in fact it has gone out of bounds on the full. So free kick going the other way to the Magpies, and the ball really not moving terribly fast for either team.
No, but there again you saw an example of DC making a break out of the pack, and even though the kick was errant, that's the equation that's worked for them on the day. They've been able to control the midfield, not in the sense that they've been able to handball around a ton, but they've been able to break free of the pack with the football enough to get some decent deliveries into the forward line, and they've got those big forwards that have been hauling the ball in for them and then converting to goals.
Ball comes down the ground, and New York now trying to get it out. They got to get it out in a hurry here. They need 2 scores, and they need to win this game outright in order to claim the regional championship. And the mark is taken. 72 with the football for New York. We should mention as well players from Kansas City and Arizona. And the ball gets knocked down. Over to get it is Williams, works it back to Meyer. Meyer sends this one down. I think Kadri Williams is another guy I feel like eventually, like Steph Barr in the national team. I think he's got a lot of speed. He's got a good awareness. I think he has a lot of good raw talent in the time I've seen him. Very understated, but he's played very well.
Well, it's one of the advantages of events like these. The IP International Program staff is lurking about. Our development coach, Rich Lozano's on site today. Andrew Donlin, the women's head coach, is on site today. The head of football, Jason Becker's on site today. So we try to put eyeballs on players throughout the year. And you mentioned, getting a call up or identifying talent. That's always playing the long game on that from the staff's perspective.
Drop coming through, and then dropping the pill was Jewell, and we have a whistle, and it's high contact. We'll go the way of the Magpies. Magpies 7 points down, and 4 minutes gone. 8 to play in this Division I Grand Final. Minnesota clinched Division II earlier today, and a combo of teams including DC, Denver, North Star, Arizona, Kansas City, Virginia, and I'm probably forgetting one, Wisconsin, in there as well. Won the women's championship on a replay after the first game was a draw. Here is DC now, working the ball down. Matthew trying to circle his way back, punch free. Williams starting to cheat back a little bit.
New York has numbers here.
And they're going to look to exploit that. This one is up high. Over to get it now.
They'd be really disappointed with that result. They had 5 bodies through the mid streaming, and he ended up kind of chopping the underside of the ball and spraying it off right into the arms of a DC player.
Up on the far side now as the ball goes up high. And it is marked, and DC is going to string this together. They are in no hurry.
That was New York's best looking opportunity this quarter, certainly. Maybe this half. They had an opportunity to run with numbers there.
Apologies for the language, as Zovac with a nice mark as this one is sent in down the ground. Going to get stick up. There's Foster. And he planted his foot. It's touched through. He tried to go quickly, and then it was like his foot grew about an extra foot as he dug into the ground there. That was Martin Anderson. But it's through for a behind, which doesn't really change anything. It's now 5-3-33 for the Eagles. Out to 8 points on the Watch AFL scoreboard. New York 4-1-25. It's still 2 kicks anyway. 2 goals anyway you slice it.
I believe the term is he found himself rooted.
Yes, which means something different. Anyway, if our Aussies friends just went, as the ball goes down.
Indeed they did. I don't think it was as big as a faux pas as Alexi Lawless making a comment about James Corden's show during the World Cup to a rather slanderous term that the Brits didn't appreciate.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not interested in either of those people, but that's besides the point. They're not going to watch this. Who cares? As the ball goes outside, everybody else will, but they won't. I don't know. I have an Alexi Lawless story, but I'll tell. Not that I can't say it on air, but I don't want to. I'll tell you what it is later. As the ball goes on, I interviewed him basically. As the ball gets sent in, and the ball gets out the back, and all the way to bat is Lack. It's a one-on-one contest, but the ball goes out of bounds. And this is okay for the Eagles because the clock runs, and so far we've got, we'll call it, 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, vast majority of this quarter has been played in the DC offensive end.
And the lead's going to go up by one more point. So 5-4-34 to 4-1-25. So the Magpies, who had a crunching victory over Philadelphia to seal up the Northeast Regionals in Philly a season ago, are 9 points down and 5 minutes left. And DC, as we said, this would be their first D1 title in a regionals since they were the Baltimore Washington Eagles in 2017. That game was played in North Carolina. That was a very eventful tournament. The other thing I remember about that was Mark McClure going down with an ACL in that tournament for Columbus. Ball gets stuck in, and it's marked. And this will burn 30 more seconds off the clock.
Yeah, all those points that DC's been scoring really haven't made a huge difference in the game in the sense that it's still two major kicks difference. This one could, of course, but what it does is it's allowed DC to continue to lock the ball in on their offensive end. Sometimes you almost half wonder, should we concede a goal just to get back to midfield and go forward? Of course, you're giving up points. You don't want to do that. But
Lack's foot kick goes off to the side. So, like you said, all these points, it's still 2 goals. I mean, the only difference is, I mean, when it was 2 kicks would get you a tie. But I mean, like we said, they have to win the game outright for them to win the title. 5-5-35 to 4-1-25. Watch AFL scoreboard. We're under 4 minutes to go here on the last game of the day. Day's kind of flown, I have to say. Like, I don't think this, as hot as it's been, the games have been exciting. This game has this. Sometimes you do these tournaments, as much as we love doing them, SARS, and it does feel like a bit of a slog from time to time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, we've had some really good Aussie rules in front of us.
Some exciting games. Brian, we've done a fair few together now, and just watching this one, it's been interesting, the chess match that's playing out, and right now New York just does not have answers to get out of their back line. DC's starting to exert themselves a little bit, and I don't want to say a foregone conclusion at this juncture. There's certainly time enough for New York to score a couple of goals, but they have got to solve DC's midline that really has locked this ball into the forward half almost the entire quarter.
Well, this is Zovac, who could put the game away with a goal here. Ladies and gentlemen, I was going to say the Eagle has landed, but it hasn't. But here's Williams, cleans up the garbage, gets 1 point for that, and kicks that one into the pines. Oh, they got it back, and they're going to work it out quickly. 5-6-36 for New York. Or for DC, rather. New York 4-1-25.
We're getting close to those points mattering.
Well, one more, and it in essence becomes a 3-kick game because, again, New York, if the game were to end in a tie, DC would win based on percentage, based on what happened in the 2 games against Chicago earlier today. So this is it is, but they just cannot get out past their halfback flank, can the Magpies. And this is a good way. This is smart football. Works it over to Jewell. Jewell is going to go back as if he's backing himself. I don't know that he will make the distance here, but he's going to act like it because it will burn 30 more seconds off the clock.
He's been one of those hard-bodied midfielders that's been real effective today for DC. In the end, New York were not really having an answer for those guys, and he's been part of that equation that's gotten the ball forward effectively.
Sends it up high into the wind, punched free, goes down to the ground, 90 seconds to go. The DC Eagles are going to win a Super Regional Championship, going to win their first D1 championship in 9 years. And after taking out the D2 title, let's see, they took out the D3 title. No, it was the D2 title in 2023, and they took out the 2024 D2 title. As this one is sent on the way, Bernie Burgess, and it's through for a behind. So now New York needs 3 goals, and they're not in 53 seconds.
Yeah, stranger things have happened, but that would be very, very, very strange.
Well, here we go. He'll run his full measure. Oh, mowing him down, and he's gone. William Lack. And that is the exclamation point on this victory for the DC Eagles.
That's kind of about how it's gone for New York. I mean, when you're running like that and get tackled midfield, it's not because you went so far ill-advisedly. It's because you didn't have options to kick to. And so somebody wasn't showing for him. Multiple somebodies wasn't showing for him. That mistake is made downfield, not because of the ball carrier.
15 seconds to go here. New York played well all day. It's going to come up a little bit short. Almost taking the mark over the top. 2 players for the Eagles. One of them's able to get it out, and there it is. And ladies and gentlemen, the DC Eagles are your 2026 USAFL Super Regional Champions. They have done so in a very tightly fought contest, but they come home winners by 2 goals. The final score, the DC Eagles 5-7-37. The New York Magpies, who had the help of the Arizona Hawks and KC Power, 4-1-25. It's a great way for the day to end. I think overall, looking at this, DC, the better team. New York played well, but I think DC really stepped up, and we talk about fitness. New York really, I think what kind of New York team was it coming into this second half? They came off the field. They looked tired.
Yep. And
I don't want to say they looked defeated, but they looked like, man, we have a long way back, and they just couldn't climb up the mountain.
Yeah, we talked about earlier that they probably have their sights set on getting back to the Div 1 Grand Final at Nationals and being competitors in that space. Certainly isn't the result they'd want on the day. If DC converts, even a few of those behinds, I think this game looks a lot uglier than the final suggests here. But a hard contested match. We think we saw some ebb and flow in the first quarter, a little bit at the start of the second half. But in the end, DC's midfield really was the class of the day. Collected the football, effectively got themselves open enough to deliver balls into the forward line, where their big forwards in Foster and Armour were great overhead, and when they weren't overhead, they were good enough on the ground or down low, and were able to convert some goals.
Yep, and in the end, I think it was fun to watch, and the Eagles, deserving champions. And again, recapping the day, Minnesota, Division II champions, thanks to their victory over St. Louis in the final game. Minnesota finishes first, St. Louis second. The Wisconsin Wombats combo with the Des Moines finishes third, and then the women's game, where the Minnesota Freeze defeated by a combination. Hey, DC, they came home with 2 trophies.
Indeed they do, for the Eagles ladies that were involved.
The Eagles, the Denver Bulldogs, members of the North Star Bluehawks, Kansas City Power, Wisconsin Wombats, Arizona Hawks, and the Virginia Lions as well. The Eagles are about to go out there and sing their song, and they're actually going to get a guard of honor from the women. And look at some of the kids and some of the dogs too. That's fantastic. They're going to get a great guard of honor.
A family affair coming to Woodbury for the weekend for the footy.
Yep. So a fantastic. Sum up this day of Aussie rules for us if you can.
Yeah. Well, we had great weather. We had great hosts here at Destination Woodbury and a really nice complex. The grounds are in perfect shape, nice thick grass, and we had great weather. It's warm, but that's footy in the U.S. during the summer. I think we saw really some great contests. I was just absolutely thrilled with the 2 women's games, and so I think Andrew Donlan, the head women's coach, has some choices to make as he finalizes his U.S. squad with the talent he saw today. And congratulations to the 2 division winners on the men's side. The Freeze certainly would have been chuffed to win in their backyard, the men in Division II. Pretty thumping victory against St. Louis in the end. And then here, DC has to be absolutely thrilled going home with the hardware here. New York, massive rivalry for them on the East Coast. And they've not always come out on top against them. So that's a hard-fought win, and I think they've got a lot to be proud of in that victory. Really played a team game today in a lot of ways, and had answers for what New York threw at them.
And Sars, thank you so much. It's been always an honor to sit and commentate with you.
Pleasure for me.
And so listen, we'll be back. Well, I'll be back in a couple of weeks. I'm sure we'll be back on the microphone, hopefully at Nationals.
We'll aim for Sarasota together.
I
won't make it to Portland, but I hear you got that covered.
I do, and we might have some help. We'll have to take a look and follow up on that. By the way, in case you're still watching us and you're like, have I missed anything? You haven't. It's still scoreless in the 25th minute, so you haven't missed anything over at that other game. My big thanks really to Destination Woodbury, to Tasmanian, to Two Kangaroo, to all of our other sponsors, Play Aussie USA. No, not Play Aussie. Aussie Sports USA. My apologies. Aussie Sports USA, to Premier Sports Medicine, to HBC, to all of the folks here, to Jerry Long, to Emery and all of our camera folks here, to Dan Wicks, to Ashley on social media, and of course our thanks to you as well. We'll join you again in 2 weeks in Salem, Oregon for the 2026 Western Regional Championships. And also put on your radar, August 29th, we'll be in Kelowna, British Columbia for the 49th Parallel Cup. Until then.
We'll look forward to that one.
For Dan Sarbacker, for everybody who has brought to you today's matches from Minnesota, this is Brian Barish wishing you a pleasant good evening.